Before you watch this movie's recap, make sure you know the ongoing story from The Old Guard Part 1. In the beginning of Part 2, we see a ship boarded by some people seen sailing somewhere deep in the ocean. A few men approach a statue in the front, to which their leader by the name Discord approaches and commands that the statue be released. It was seen that they had captured Quinch, and now is her chance to be free. Meanwhile, in Croatia, the fantasy warriors, Niall, Andy, Copley, Joe, and Nikki have arrived to infiltrate Conrad's mansion and retrieve the weapons to the CIA as their contract. In an intense strategic planning, Joe and Nikki distract the outside guards by stealing Conrad's vehicle and clear the path for the rest, whereas Andy and Copley, after successfully intruding the mansion, run into a herd of guards to fight with. However, Niall doesn't stop sailing her boat, so she plans on paying herself a visit soon. On the other side, Joe and Nikki risk their lives to cut off with the escape, yet they are immortal with some fantasy powers. How they can heal themselves over little time, get successful in escaping as soon as their car falls into the river. Meanwhile, as soon as Niall arrives, all three of them complete their mission and once and for all, kill Conrad. Copley tells them that his CIA contract will be here soon for the weapons, and the scene shifts to night where the team pays it off for a good day's work with drinks and play some fun together. While all of this, Copley gets a call for which he leaves. On his back, Joe and Nikki also go to their beds where Andy shares her feelings of being at peace after what everything happened. Copley returns and tells them that the CIA says Conrad was not the only one after weapons, but shares a picture of a woman. Niall looks at it and seems to have recognized this woman without meeting her in real life. Niall says that she kept looking at her in her dream where she keeps around some books and sees the woman hurting a man and taking his books. After some time somewhere in Paris, Booker somehow comes to his apartment and finds Quinch, who kidnaps him and takes him away for some questioning. In the meantime, the rest of the warriors arrive in Paris for a summer break sort of enjoyment. But Joe seems very silent and away from Nikki, to which Nikki says to Niall that he has known him for thousands of years, and he is acting strange and shows he is hiding something, so they follow Joe. However, Quinn, on the other hand, had brought Booker to some abandoned place and asks him about Andy. But Booker says he is exiled, so he is of no use. Quinn asks him about Amdy, discussing about Quinn to them, to which Booker says that she never stopped it. Thought Quinn was captured for 500 years looking for Andy and always thinking about her, only to when she got freed and found out Andy was already free this whole time while she was locked down. This broke her from the inside. Back to the team, where the chase ends and Joe reveals that Booker is alone. Nikki tries to tell him that Booker had broken the rule and shot Andy, so it is his own choice to be what he is now. Niall uses her ability and says his apartment has blood, but he is not anywhere near. Joe reveals he made his last contact a week ago, so he doesn't know much. Meanwhile, Andy and Copley are seen in South Korea after some time to meet Tua, who Copley doesn't know about. Tua talks with Andy, who asks him about Niall seeing him in her dream with a woman. Tua wills to share everything in the library, and once they walk down, Copley realizes that the remnants are all about the immortals. However, Andy notices a few missing books. Upon asking, Tua tells them about Discord, the woman who was among them from the very beginning. When the cruelty was breaking records, Discord took 5 centuries for gaining power with no boundary. Such person like Conrad who seek power, and now she becomes their next confirmed target. To this date, everyone thought Andromache is the oldest of them all, but Tua says that Discord is, and now she is on to Andromache, having immense power in her hand. Before leaving, Andy shares the shocking news to Tua that she has lost her immortality about 6 months from now. Later on, in Italy, the team reunites where Tua is introduced by Andy as her old friend. They blame her for keeping another immortal warrior among them, but that was not the case. In the meanwhile, Niall tells them about Booker, where they point fingers on Discord's work. After a little while, when they are sitting planning a strategy for Booker, Joe gets a call from Booker and he leaves with Nikki. Outside the region, Booker meets with them and only wishes to meet with Andy. Again, reunited with another new member, Booker, who straight up tells Andy that Quinch is free and she is looking out for her. Booker gives her a message from Quinn, who wants to meet her. Andy says nothing and leaves, but Niall insists on going with her because she is not immortal anymore. Later that night, Andy becomes so upset thinking about her past. When their civilization was brutally devoured and captured, Niall gets to her in a public toilet and becomes so distressed that she had never seen like before. To which Andy says that she has always been like this for hundreds of years. And the next day, Andy comes to meet Quinn somewhere in Rome. Surprisingly, Andy doesn't see it, but all the team members disguise themselves at the same place to be in the lookout for Andy. But Andy meets with Quinn, and she releases all her emotions about being trapped for centuries in the darkness, yet she didn't come for her. Andy keeps on insisting that she kept looking for her and did everything she could but failed. Quinn is then offered to join them to fight beside their side, but she refuses for what she has become now. Refusing to say, Andy tries to reveal about her immortality, but Quinn leaves at the moment to which Andy follows her. And behind them, Niall, who on her lookout locates Discord at the scene. On the other hand, Niall takes her time to find both Andy and Quinn fighting each other to death and tells them about Discord, who already comes revealing herself in front of them. However, Niall follows Discord, but Quinn, who still is on her demand, fights with Andy. And skillfully, snatches Andy's locket and runs away. In the meanwhile, Niall ends up in a church behind Discord, who looks at Jesus and says that she was there and remembers everything. Moving on, she mentions Andy's interference with the mortals lead to their destruction, and only she and Niall together will solve all the mysteries. On refusing this, Niall is shown the birthmark, the same as hers before leaving, saying that they are connected. The team again reunites where Niall is curious about her history, asking what does "I am the last" mean as she is told by Discord, something that only she knows other than anyone else. Andy leaves and goes inside her room. She is not immortal, so her injuries don't heal on their own. While she sits beside the window, she remembers the time the locket she always wore was given by Quinn back when they were locked. At night, Books comes to see Tua, who is studying, and tells him that there is a theory about mortality and immortality transfer, only it is possible if one is willing to do it. Tua says Andy can achieve immortality, but one of them will become mortal. And the next day, Discord comes to Quinch, telling her about Andy, who left her once again, a betrayal. But she only took her out of the ocean to keep her on her side. Quinn demands that she wants everyone to suffer just like she did. The scene shifts to somewhere in Indonesia, where Quinch, teaming up with some gang members, infiltrates into a nuclear chamber for a plan with Discord. And the next day, Niall, Booker, and Tua plan to train on their tools. After some time, Booker lands on Niall's hit and takes a short break. Tua tells him that the transfer theory is only words. No one knows if it is real. Besides, the transfer is done willingly. During this, Booker says that the injury is not healing now, revealing that he is no longer immortal as well. Copley calls everyone in the library them, revealing the earlier infiltration in Indonesia, revealing that they placed a bomb right in the middle core that could destroy the whole region if detonated. Knowing that Discord is cleverly trying to distract with this, but they don't have another choice but to go for it. The next scene, the warriors arrive at the facility after some exploration, led by Copley, who sees through the control systems, alerts them about any company, and speaking of the devil, the combat begins. However, Discord had planned to first make them separate from each other and then take on one after another. First, Niall drops down and disappears in the middle of combat, leaving Andy on her own. Tua, Joe, and Nikki get locked down in the control room. Copley first gets distracted by a few guards outside, where in the meanwhile, the control room is filled with liquid nitrogen gas, freezing the warriors. Only Andy and Booker get left on the back. Surprisingly, Booker looks at Andy, who heals herself, but she only realizes it without knowing how it was transferred. But in a one-man combat alone, Booker expires, only for him to allow Andy to run for Discord and finish the mission. Niall, on the other hand, is shown reaching out at Quine H. But with one hit, Quinn gets injured and sees that she is not healing now. However, Discord finds her way and finishes Niall by stabbing her right in her heart. Andy, on the other hand, walks upstairs and finds Quinch sitting with the bomb, and for one last time, confronts Andy, who realizes she is also not immortal anymore. Andy leaves her there and runs to the roof, seeing Discord leaving in a helicopter. Andy runs for her and jumps Discord out of the helicopter to confront her in combat. Surprisingly, Andy notices that Discord is not healing her wound, but that is not the case. Discord tells her about the others who will be killed by Niall, as she has given her a chance. The birthmark they both share will also share the mortality Niall will snatch from them and transfer it to her. Andy thinks about this fact, but with this she becomes weaker, with how Discord wounds her and escapes. Andy puts herself out and comes back to Tua's library. Although she's left alone, she brings Quinn along with her. As for now, she might join them now. Meanwhile, she reads a few books to learn about Discord and history. However, the movie ends with both Quinn and Andy running out to save their friends while arguing who will go out first.